facility. Alright, welcome back to part 2 of this Star Citizen Alpha 3.0 play session. As you recall from the last video, we've landed on the Shubin Mining facility on Moon Daymar of Planet Crusader. So without further ado, let's head outside and have a look at what the surface outposts and the surface of the moon looks like up close and personal. So here we go, opening cargo bay door. And there she goes. And here we are. And that's one small step for man, one giant leap for PC gaming. Listen to the wind howling, and let's have a quick look at this updated cutlass. First things first, they really have done a magnificent job. This new ship looks so much better than the older version, so it's quite an intimidating beast. It's much bigger than it used to be. What tends to happen with ships in Star Citizen is they just become bigger as they add more features and things, so this has grown significantly. And look at the terrain, rocky ridges, wind blowing, dust in the atmosphere. It creates quite an amazing effect. So yeah, I mentioned the Ursa rover that was parked here in the previous video, so let's walk up closer and have a quick look. 6-wheeled vehicle, as you can see. A ramp is down very invitingly, but I am not going to steal it, at least not this round. At some stage I'll get hold of my own and we'll go have a look at what it feels like to drive an Ursa. For now I'm just admiring the environment and the effects, and yeah, it's quite something. Alright, what have we got over here? This is either a piece of mining equipment or it's a way to summon Shai Hulud for the Dune fans out there. Alright, Dune jokes aside, let's walk up and have a look at what these outposts look like from the inside. Platinum Bay. Well, I did fly tens of thousands of kilometers to get here, so I suppose I'm entitled to the platinum reception. Cycle the airlock quickly. The character's breathing sounds a bit like Vader. Right, what's his... Ooh, coffee machine. Fresh brew from the KG group. Yeah, I could have a cuppa right now. What? There's no button to push? What good is this interaction system if you can't make yourself a cuppa? These guys are not very hospitable, are they? They don't even want to let me sit on the benches. Alright, these look like ship summoning panels. So yes, indeed, this is a panel for summoning your stored ships. At this stage, as I mentioned previously, most of the ships are flyable because of the PTU testing phase, so they want you to test multiple different vessels. But yeah, for now we're not going to summon any more ships. Fire extinguisher, of course, very important in case someone sets the platinum reception area on fire. There doesn't seem to be much else to do in here, so let's head out and have a look at one of the other buildings in the outpost. Okay, so why are we going through airlocks? Well, let me quickly, while we're at it, just pause here for a moment and bring up my Mobiglass interface. So one of the cool things, if you look at the right hand side, is it shows you the current atmospheric composition. So this is what, 98.4% nitrogen and some other gases. The point is there's no oxygen, so this atmosphere is not breathable. I've currently got just over an hour's worth of breathable air left. My character can choke and die if you run out of oxygen, so at this stage I'm having to keep my spacesuit on and my helmet closed, because even though this is a, shall we say, Earth-like environment, in the sense that, you know, it has an atmosphere and it's got rocky terrain and all of that. The atmosphere is not actually breathable. Hence, oh, there's Planet Crusader looming over the horizon. So yeah, even though the atmosphere sort of looks Earth-like in a sense, the atmosphere is not, or the air is not breathable. And so every one of these buildings has an airlock that you have to activate as you go inside, so that you cycle from outside atmosphere to breathable air, which is what's happening now. Right, see what's in this one. So here's the airlock door, here's a quick view to the outside. None of this stuff appears to be anything I can interact with. Most of this I would assume is just set dressing. So a quick word on how these outposts are created. They're done using building sets that the designers put together, and then using some procedural building tech, they create different variants of the outposts. So that means they can create a lot of different ones that look fairly varied, without having to build all of them from scratch completely manually. So it allows you to put a whole bunch of outposts together in a short amount of time, which allows you then obviously to dot the surface of a moon or a planet or whatever with places that you can explore. So there's different rooms with different functions. This appears to be some sort of engineering section, potentially where the mining equipment is being run from. Nothing in here does anything at the moment as far as I can tell. There's all sorts of random containers and boxes stacked on the shelves. So I assume the people that work here know what these things are for. I have no idea, so let's see what's in this room over here. Another engineering type area. You can have a view on the outside world through the convenient window. And oh look, they still have cordless drills in the 30th century, would you believe it? Not expect to see one of those yet. No buttons I can push over here. So yeah, there's not really much to do inside the outpost at the moment. There will be a trading console somewhere, as far as I understand it, where you can buy and sell cargo, because this being a mining outpost, it produces minerals, so you can buy minerals, load them into your cargo bay, and then go and drop them off somewhere else. That is the intention. Part of 3.0's feature set is to allow for cargo trading. So, oh, I'm only now entering an armistice zone. That's interesting. So my guns would have been working this whole time. It doesn't bode very well. Some more Shayulut thumpers there in the background. These appear to be solar panels. I would assume they run on solar energy over here. Doesn't seem to be much else in the way of power generation going on. So let's walk over to this here station over this side and see if there's anything interesting to see. It says Shubin Interstellar on the front. Shubin, of course, being a mining company set in the Star Citizen universe. Cycle the airlock and have a look inside. There we are. More of the same. Lots of shelves standing around with random equipment. Oh, this looks like the desk of an administrator. There's no one manning it at the moment, but I think they could in future potentially add some AI characters sitting behind the desk here. Maybe this could be a drop-off point for some collection missions, or just someone that you can interact with. I don't know. At this point the place appears to be deserted, so yeah, it gives you an idea of what these outposts look like on the inside. They appear to be fairly similar in most respects, just with some varying functions. Engineering, storage, reception, etc. So, having had a peek inside, let's walk around a little bit more. Oh, in case anyone was wondering, the Shubin Mining facility is a random blue dot floating a few meters in the air. There it is, right there. Okay. Mark that on your list of places visited. You can see dust being blown through the atmosphere. That looks amazing. Right, so let's run off and see what else there is around this here mining facility that we can explore. Oh, the weapons are online again. I don't think they've made the safe zone around this facility big enough. Some conveniently placed cargo containers for cover. And that brings out the first person shooter in me. I'm not really much of a first person shooter. Oh, that's gonna leave a scar. But yeah, some convenient cover in case you want to do some run and gun while you're down here. Here's the constellation that we saw earlier, which does not appear to have its parking brake on properly. I actually wonder if it's the wind effect that's buffeting this thing so much. I would assume that something this massive would sit a little bit more stably on the landing pad, but there you go. Oh, you know what? You remember Planet Crusader hanging on the horizon earlier? It's gone now. Have a look. It's nowhere in sight. And that means that due to the moon's rotation, which is one of the features that has now been added in 3.0, the planet has disappeared somewhere behind the horizon. So in just a few minutes we've gone from this massive gas giant hanging in the skyline to it not being there anymore. So if you stay in one place long enough, you can actually watch the sunset. So maybe what we'll do next is head off to the dark side of the moon and see what that looks like. But for now, let's inspect some of this lovely new procedurally generated terrain up closer, see if it holds up as you get closer. And go from dust and sand to some rockier terrain as we get up close. Now that corner over there looks a little bit funny. There will maybe be some glitches they still have to sort out. What's really cool though is if you look at my character's stance, how he's standing with one leg bent and the other one straight. It's part of the new animation set to make your first person animations a little bit more realistic. So in many other games one leg would just sink into the slope. They've actually managed to work out the animation so that my character balances himself against the slope with one leg bent as you would do in real life, so that's pretty cool. Got an interesting clump of rocks over here. They look pretty cool. Some rocks half buried in the sand. Yeah, it's straight edge there looks a bit funny, but yeah, the tech is still improving, so whatever minor niggles there are, I'm sure those will get sorted out over time. It's just the overall effect of being able to walk around an entire moon and get this close to the terrain and having it hold up this well is really impressive. The frame rate's getting a bit choppy again, but like we say, if you're a Star Citizen backer, it's alpha. So alright, someone parked a Super Hornet over here. I haven't actually seen anyone else wandering around the station. I wonder where these folks are, because their ships are still parked here, including whoever's driving that Ursa, but I didn't actually encounter any other players, so maybe they've logged off and their ships are persisting a little bit. Or maybe they're wandering around another part of the station and I just haven't run into them, who knows. Alright, back to the Cutlass. Have a last peek at this dust blowing through the sky. The wind howling in your ears, and the overall effect is really, it's very impressive. It's a very, very cool addition, I think, to the game, being able to fly down, seamlessly land wherever you like, get out, walk around, explore your surroundings. The environmental effects and the terrain and the sound along with that, it's really, really cool. Alright, so let's head back inside. There's one other thing I quickly want to do, and that's to take off and get an aerial shot of the mining base. Boop, there we are. Interior lighting comes on as soon as the door closes. Head back up to the cockpit quickly. The interaction system really helps a lot. In the older versions you just had this use prompt and there was no context to anything you did. Now when you interact with something it tells you exactly what you're doing. It makes it so much easier to find the right control and the right button, and it also makes for much more modular interaction. So now there you go, I can just turn on the engines
online
by itself instead of having everything being on by default. So
launch complete.
And we have liftoff.
Landing gear up.
Okay, let's take a quick peek outside. I know I mentioned earlier that there's a risk of the game crashing a little when you do exterior views, but whatever, I'm feeling lucky. So far so good. There we go. Shubin Mining facility as seen from a few hundred meters up in the air. There's the constellation still parked on the landing pad, you can see. Makes for a nice big profile even from this altitude. And now you just get an idea of how tiny this little outpost that I've just been exploring is compared to the rest of the terrain around it, all the cliffs and the canyons. So I know I keep on harping about the scale, but it really is tremendously impressive, and it's only going to get better from here. So alright, let's see if we can head back into space and maybe get a cool transition going from atmosphere to the blackness of space, and then maybe I can get some exterior shots of the ship leaving atmosphere, which should be pretty nice. Let's head into a shallow climb here. There we go. Damar's atmosphere isn't particularly thick, so you very quickly start to see the dark of space. There we are. Oh, that looks amazing. And just rotate around a little. Look at that. And there she is. Now we can see where Crusaders disappeared to. It's looming there across the far horizon. And you can imagine I was just walking down there on the surface, and now here we are leaving the moon and re-entering the dark of space. So that is planetary landing and transition for you. It is incredibly well done. I look forward to exploring this a lot more in future. So until next time.